Hello and welcome to EV Focus Now. And today we're going to talk about three new startups that, in my opinion, and I want to state that clearly, in my opinion, I do not think will survive in 2022 and going forward. Again, before we start, I'd just like to say please make sure you hit the like button and hit the notification button and subscribe if you're really enjoying the videos that I put out. It really helps the channel. And I'm trying so hard to get to 100 followers, which is nothing for some people, but a challenge for me. So please share this with your friends, like and subscribe, and I appreciate you watching and taking the time. And also, please leave your comments below too. I like to know what you're thinking as well. So I thought about this quite a bit, and again, these are three EV startups that I think are not going to survive, and the reasons behind them are pretty alarming, so to speak. So the first one is Faraday Future. If you're not familiar with Faraday Future, they've been around for almost 6 years now. They're owned by another gentleman who had to get rid of the company for some reason. I can't remember why, but then the CEO of Byton, Clarkston Benfield, and forgive me if I'm saying his name wrong, he left Byton, which is probably a good idea because they went under. That's another one. They could have been number 4 on this list, but it's only 3. And he went over to Faraday Future. Now he's a pretty bright guy. I think he's also from the BMW i Group from years ago, as where the i program that they started up. But he's been over there, and in 2019 in CES, they drove a prototype from California to Las Vegas on one charge, and that's pretty impressive. But again, I always say whenever I hear about these long-term drives on one charge, I'm like, that's great, but we're going 65 miles an hour, 70 miles maybe. You know, most people drive 75 to 85 miles an hour. Real world driving is what I'm interested in, how a car does. But it probably was going 65, 70, constant pace. And yeah, okay, that's great. It probably has 400 miles of range, maybe 350 miles of range, who knows. But that's fantastic. But it was a prototype. And that doesn't tell us too much besides that. You were able to sit in it, so it was a real car, working car, so that's a good thing. But the problem is, this is a high-end luxury sedan. It's beautiful inside. It's a kind of weird looking, kind of elongated vehicle. Take a look at it online if you're not familiar with it. But it's unique, and I like the tech, and the back seats are lay flat almost. It's really, really a cool concept. But unfortunately, it's a little late bringing that out. The time to bring this out was 2 to 3 years ago, where your only competition of far as a luxury sedan was Tesla, really. And now you have people, not people, but manufacturers like Mercedes, Jaguar, BMW, Lucid Air, Cadillac, Porsche, not to mention Tesla, as I said before, all coming out with luxury sedan models or sporty sedan models. So not only are you fighting an uphill battle because nobody knows who you are, you're a new company, and that vehicle is going to be up in the 70,000, even 80, 100,000 range, where all these vehicles are. And these are established OEMs, established brands who have proven themselves, and even Lucid Air, who hasn't even came out with a model yet. They have prototypes, but haven't put one out for sale yet. Looks promising. The design, the build quality, the motors they have. So they have some real backing behind it. Peter Rawlinson, who came from Tesla, is the CEO of Lucid Air. So I think they're going to also be fine, but in that space competing against all these other manufacturers, and now the OEMs have caught up and they're producing their luxury cars as well. So it's going to be really tough. Not to mention, I forgot Audi too is really kicking butt, part of the Volkswagen group. So it's a busy field, and how are you going to get market share coming out not before them but after them? It's really going to be tough for them, and I don't think they're going to make it. Just not enough space in that market. Number 2, Lordstown Motors. Now, Lordstown Motors has been in the news, but frankly, they're looking more like a Nikola situation, apparently. They say they have a working prototype. We've seen it in pictures. I think they even had a kind of a prototype that went on a Baja race that did not finish, if I'm correct. It ran out of power. That wasn't impressive at all, unfortunately. And no journalists have been able to test drive this car, seen their factory, even sit inside of it. So we don't even know what the tech looks inside. We've seen steel pictures and stuff like that, but is anything working? it doesn't look promising at all. And the problem again here is electric truck. If they could have came out with this 2 or 3 years ago, they would have owned the space. Nobody had electric truck yet. They would have owned it. People who were waiting for an electric truck would have been, hey, I'll go with Lordstown, the first one out, and they would have had some market share, had some advertising, some pop behind it. But now, with the F-150 Lightning coming out next year, the Hummer EV, Rivian pickup truck coming out, scheduled to come out in the next month or two, if they don't get delayed again, and the Cybertruck coming out next year, not to mention GM's coming out with the all-electric Sierra. Hey, I don't know how they're going to even compete. Their truck's going to be close to $50,000-$60,000, if not more, like the rest of the trucks. So why would you buy Lordstown Motor when you can get a truck from these other established companies? Not to mention the Ford F-150 Light. F-150 is the most popular truck and most sold vehicle in the world. So you're really uphill now. And the fact that they blew the time that they had to get this out and get ahead of everybody is really troublesome. And I'm hearing that they're running out of money. They only have like 6 months left of money left, according to reports. So I don't think they're going to make it. And you know that's just unfortunate. They just waited too long. They missed their spot. Unfortunately, they couldn't come out with the vehicle fast enough. Number 3 is also in that same boat, but does have an off ramp, and I'll talk about that. So that's Bollinger Motors. Okay, so Bollinger Motors has the same challenges that I mentioned. It's more of a niche vehicle. It looks like almost a Lego truck in a way, but it's really rugged. Reminds me of the old Hummers that used to come out back 10, 15 years ago. So it's wide. It's unique truck. They have some unique things with it where you can run a piece of lumber down the middle of the car. It opens up the front trunk and the back, so it can run like a 15-foot piece of lumber can fit all the way through the car. So it has a lot of capable things you can do with it. I think, but it only has about 200 miles of range. I think 230 miles of range, maybe. That's not too promising. It's definitely not a looker, but more of just a rugged, I guess, kind of a truck. If you want that real rugged look, it's going to fit that need. I think I've only seen it in black, and it's unique. But again, you're facing a stiff competition with what's coming out. And the Hummer EV, if the Bollinger, which I understand is going to be $80,000 to $90,000, $100,000, well, you might as well get the Hummer EV if you want something really rugged and that kind of vehicle. I mean, so to speak, you can really just go with that. I mean, but at least especially for the price point as well, it's really going to hurt Bollinger. Not to mention Jeep, who's late to the party, but Jeep is coming out with an electrified model. They have a bunch of different, the Cherokee, and they have the Wrangler that will also fill that space that Bollinger is trying to get. But Jeep's not coming out for two to 3 years, I think, before they come out with a working all electric, unless they increase their timeline. They're kind of dragging their feet. Now that Stellantis have bought Chrysler and Jeep, they're pushing them to go a little faster. But that's another competitor right there. Not to mention when Toyota gets into it with their Tundra, Bollinger is in big trouble. And because of the price point of it, it doesn't make sense why you buy this over another car, unless you just want to be different, which is fine. Well, some people are going to do that, but I don't think this car is going to make it, this truck. However, here's the off-ramp for Bollinger that, in my opinion, that works for them. They could find a space with the military or private security companies. It's a very capable vehicle. It looks like a very armored vehicle in a way, the way it looks. It has that kind of application look to it, like military, private security, kind of a feel. So there may be a niche in which they may fit in. Bollinger may fit into a certain segment of society that might want that kind of vehicle or a business. But it doesn't look good, though, because, again, the longer you wait, these other OEMs, these other manufacturers are coming up with their own EV trucks. And they have more power, they have more name recognition, they have more advertising dollars to promote their truck, and people are more familiar with them, and that's going to hurt Bollinger and Lordstown Motors and for their future altogether. Them not taking the advantage of getting these trucks out and these vehicles out 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years ago, when they would have been the buzz. Everybody been talking about them as the first, the new luxury sedan to compete with Tesla out there. The 2 new EV trucks to compete with anybody, because they would have been the first ones out. So they would own the space, own all the headlines. And now it looks like they're going to have a very steep hill to climb that even if the trucks are four-wheel drive, which they are, I don't think they're going to make it up that hill. It's going to be very tough for them, and I think you're going to see them fold or be absorbed by another company, perhaps. Who knows? But this is the speculation. In my opinion, just look at the landscape and what's happening right now with what's coming out in the market. I just don't know if these three companies are going to make it. But, hey, I could be wrong, and I really want to know what you think. Do you think these three companies are going to make it? And is there another company out there, another EV startup that you think is also in trouble that will not ever come to production and will fold? Please put that in the comment section below. I'd be very interested to see if I missed some. I'm sure I have. But don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification button to stay on top of all my new videos. Thank you for watching, and please tune in to my next video. When it comes to EVs, continue to stay focused. Thank you. Bye-bye.